Um, let's go back and look at that lit analysis thing, right? We talk about characters and point of view here, right? We have to think about, is our narrator reliable? Right? Can we trust that he is telling us things as they actually happened, or are they being filtered through his own perceptions, his own fears and biases and whatever, right? And I definitely think we have to consider that, right? Um, I forgot to go back to this article, so let's look at this real quickly. Um, Again, we talked about conflict. So 5 is characters. Uh, you can look at who are the people in the story and think about who are they? What are their motivations? You can think about symbols in the story. So a symbol is something that represents something else. So he talks about feeling like he's a puppet, feeling like he's a mask. You can look at the elephant. What is it symbolizing? I think in this short a story that it's difficult, if not impossible, for someone who isn't really experienced in writing literary analysis to write a symbol analysis of the elephant. To do so, you would have to go out and do a lot of research and bring in a lot of external sources, and I don't want you to do that. So I would say it's important to understand that. That might be part of talking about something else that's going on, but I would highly recommend that you don't try to do a paper that tries to talk about what does the elephant symbolize. It can symbolize the Burmese and how out of control and how they are being oppressed. It could symbolize the British Empire and how it's failing, but not in a real quick downfall, but in these slow ways. It's dying this slow, agonizing death. But to do that, you'd really have to read and talk about how the way the elephant dies is tied to trends in the British Raj at the time. And again, that's just not something that you have the time to do, or you probably have the experience, or this assignment doesn't really offer. So I would say understand the symbols, but don't actually write a symbol definition. Um, irony is a difference between reality and perception. So a character may say something that he thinks is true, but other people in the room or the audience, because they know things that the character doesn't, realize that that's not what's true. In a comedy, the gap between reality and perception is funny, right? In a tragedy, the gap between what's real and what the character perceives as real leads to horrible, horrible things, right? So again, when he makes a comment about something, and we know what's going to happen, how is that maybe ironic, right? And then number 9 talks about different subjects that we can look for in when we're looking at analyzing a story. So again, conflict between appearance and reality, that's kind of like irony. Growing up, right? Is this a coming of age story, losing your innocence kind of story? I think there's possibilities with the story of that, right? Definitely by serving over there in Burma, he has the blinders ripped off about his own government, right? Sense of identity, he definitely talks about pretending to be something else, right? Triumph over adversity. I don't think he triumphs over adversity. I think he loses that. The individual versus society, I definitely think that that's possible here, that he's fighting not only his own society, the Britons, but he's also fighting the Burmese, right? Struggle against oppression or injustice, that's definitely a possibility. Conflict between cultures, yep, that's a possibility. A journey or a quest. He definitely goes on a journey and a quest. His quest is to figure out how to solve this elephant, right? When you look at quests or journeys, oftentimes what we're looking at are what battles does our hero, our protagonist, fight in order to prepare himself for the ultimate battle, or what isn't happening that is the reason why he doesn't succeed at the end. And then usually in a quest kind of story, we're looking at what knowledge does the protagonist gain at the end that's supposedly beneficial to his own people. And I definitely think that you can see that in this story. That's one of the reasons he's writing this, that by going through this experience, he is now writing about it so that other people don't have to go to Burma to find these things out, and that people who would never make that trip, that he's educating them about what's really going on. He's trying to change his culture. He's trying to change the world and have them reject this kind of oppression and dehumanizing of others. So there's definitely something there. Love or Marriage isn't part of this one, though in other stories that might be what you're looking at. Family relationships, human relationships to nature. Again, you might think that's something here because he's definitely dealing with the elephant, but I don't think that's enough of the story to really expand it for this length of an essay, right? Dealing with death or one's own mortality, I definitely think he has a lot of fear of being killed. I mean, the coolie's death, he takes time to express it, and he doesn't want to die that way. And then the ephemeral nature of human existence, how fragile it is, those could all be things that you look at. Again, number 10 is about the theme. Again, what is the insight the author is giving us into life, society, human nature? Definitely that's a possibility to look at. What do you think is the takeaway here? When you write analysis, again, I tell you about you deciding on an element of the story you're going to analyze. Here are some questions that you can ask yourself. Here at the end, I do want to say that the important thing is that you're not summarizing the story. I know this story. I don't need you to tell me what's going on. You summarize in order to support an analysis that you're making, right? So you don't want to tell me what's happening. You only tell me what's happening in a certain place in order to support your argument that the author is afraid, and that's what is his primary motivation, right? Or the thing that makes him fail, right? Well, then you summarize bits of the story to show where he is expressing that fear, or where you are interpreting his actions or his words as revealing his fear. But you just don't tell me what's going on in the story. That's not what an analysis is.